So today we are going to be talking about flight versus flightless birds.
Some differences between flighted and non-flighted birds are their size ranges, wing, flight muscle and keel development, leg length and strength, newborns having feathers or not, and where they are located. The wandering albatross is the world's largest flighted bird. These birds spend most of their time flying and floating in the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean where water is deep, and mating season is the only time these birds go on land. Their body length can range from 100 to 135 centimeters and weigh from 13 to 27.9 pounds. Their wingspan is around 8.2 to 11.5 feet, and when they fly, they can reach top speeds of 79 miles per hour. When born, they do have brown feathers which will turn white as they age. Newborns will stay in their nest for 9 months before heading out into the open waters. The bee hummingbird is the smallest flighted bird. They are native to Cuba but can be found in subtropical forests and gardens. Their body length can range from 5.5 to 6 centimeters and weigh from 2 to 2.6 grams. Their wingspan is around 3 centimeters and they can reach top speeds of 30 miles per hour. Newborns do not have any feathers when born, so they rely on their mother until they are fully grown, which will take about a month after hatching. The ostrich is the largest non-flighted bird. They live in dry and sandy regions such as Africa. They do have several predators, which can include cheetahs, lions, and humans. However, they have thin, long, and very strong legs with two clawed toes that they use to defend themselves. They can also run up to 40 miles per hour for a long period of time. They can grow to be up to 9 feet tall, weigh up to 320 pounds, and they are fully covered in feathers and can walk within minutes of birth. The inaccessible island rail is the smallest non-flighted bird. These birds can be found on an island called the Inaccessible Island, where they have no predators. However, if invasive species like mice and cats were introduced to the islands, these birds would be at high risk. Body length can range from 17 centimeters and weigh around 30 grams. Newborn rails will hatch with downy feathers and leave the nest within 24 hours.
Today, I will be going over the anatomy versus the flighted and flightless birds. So, in the left picture, we have a flighted bird with a prominent keel. Now, flightless birds do have a keel, or they can have a keel, not always. They can be, over time, adapted out. And then also, one of the biggest things is the hollow bones versus the dense bones. So, ostriches and flightless birds have really dense bones to help with their locomotion of running, which we'll get into in the next few slides. And then flighted birds don't need as much because they are mainly in the air or just using it for landing or slight walking. And the flight muscles versus in both birds are a little bit different, obviously, because some are on the ground running and some are in the air. Now, the left photo, the keel is so prominent because the keel is basically an anchor for all those muscles. And since the flightless birds don't really fly, well, they don't fly at all, they don't really need a keel to anchor down those flight muscles. And then in the left picture, you can see that strand right next to the neck that's out, that bone. That is the clavicle, and you can see in the flightless birds, the clavicle goes into the ribs. It's more like a centralized thing to hold the ribs in the front. And then next we'll move on to the anatomy, mainly focused on the legs. So now we're going to go over the leg muscles in the flightless birds versus the flighted birds. So in this picture, you can see the muscle definition in the ostrich in this picture. It's very, very, very thick where the thigh muscle is because they need that muscle to be able to run so fast and absorb a lot of the like hitting the ground motion. While in the right picture, their legs are very tiny. It doesn't really need the legs as much. It's just prancing down the beach. It's not going very far. It can use, if it gets spooked enough, it can fly. And so that's the biggest differences in why their legs are just so different. And then, fun fact, ostriches can sprint up to 43 miles per hour and have a single stride of 10 feet. And that's exactly why they need those thick muscles on their legs, because without those, the impact would probably break their bones because of how heavy their body is, and there's no way they can fly away. When with the other bird on the right, they use their flight for main source of all their movement and locomotion.
So next we are going to talk about different types of locomotion in birds. First, we have walking and running. So rat-types such as emus and ostriches, as said previously, they do have very muscular legs to support their body weight, run at high speeds, and will also use their legs for defense. Now, although they do not fly, they do use their wings for balance when running at these high speeds. Now, in shorebirds, a flighted bird, they have evolved very long legs in order to wade through water and lengthen their stride when walking. Now, however, in smaller shorebirds with shorter legs, you are going to see them choose to hop instead of walk in order to conserve energy. Next, we'll talk about swimming in penguins versus ducks. So, firstly, penguins adapted denser bones instead of hollow bones, like most birds, to reduce buoyancy. They also will use their wings as flippers when swimming and will make a sort of flying motion in the water. They have very well developed wing and breast muscles to propel them through water, as water is a much denser medium than air. Now, for ducks, they have what's called a uropygial gland in their tail that produces an oil that they spread over their feathers with their beak to make them waterproof. They also have the ability to interlock their feathers together and trap air to aid in buoyancy. Ducks will also use their webbed feet as paddles to push through the water. Now, lastly, we're going to talk about the different wing shapes and ways of flying in birds. First up, we have hovering wings. These are small wings that are adapted for rapid movements and tightly controlled flight, and you are mostly going to see these in hummingbirds. Next, we have soaring wings. These are going to be long and narrow and are best for flying long distances without flapping, and you can see these in seagulls and other birds. And lastly, we have elliptical wings. These are wide wings that are adapted for taking off quickly in short bursts of a rapid flight. And they were also known as flapping wings and can be seen in pigeons. So to end the video, we're going to have a little trivia over what we talked about today. Go ahead and pause the video after each question is asked to think about your answer. So, which bird has the strongest legs? The hummingbird, ostrich, or penguin? If you said ostrich, you would be correct. It has the strongest leg. Next, which of these do most flightless birds lack? The keel, wings, or feathers? You said keel, you are correct. All birds do possess wings and feathers. Now, true or false, penguins have hollow bones. This is false. Penguins actually do not have hollow bones. Here are references, and thank you for watching our video today.